Hello, friends. Are you ready to explore the fascinating world of Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings? Released on September 3, 2021, this film has sparked endless discussions, and today, we're bringing you all the hidden gems, stunning details, and unforgettable moments. If you enjoy this deep dive, be sure to hit that like button. It really helps our channel grow. And don't forget to subscribe for more exciting movie explorations. Let's jump right in and uncover the magic together. Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings is a cinematic milestone that defies the traditional expectations of the superhero genre. Released on September 3, 2021, this film marked a new chapter in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, MCU, not only introducing a fresh hero but also embracing a cultural narrative that was long overdue in the global movie landscape. Directed by Destin Cretton, the film is grounded in action, heart, and rich cultural elements, making it stand out from the typical MCU formula. The movie invites audiences into the world of Shang-Chi, played by Simu Liu, a character who might not be as familiar to mainstream moviegoers, but one whose story is universally compelling. It's about self-discovery, confronting one's past, and embracing one's destiny. Yet, while its roots are deeply tied to martial arts traditions and Asian mythology, Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings proves to be an epic that transcends these influences to become a universally appealing story. Its carefully crafted balance of stunning fight choreography, emotional depth, and mythical elements has turned it into a visual masterpiece and an exhilarating addition to the MCU. For anyone looking for a movie that combines high-octane action with deeply meaningful themes, this is a must-watch. What makes this movie stand out is not just its rich blend of Eastern martial arts cinema with the fast-paced action that Marvel fans expect, but the way it introduces a new kind of hero to the MCU. Shang-Chi isn't born into the world of superheroes. He wasn't bitten by a radioactive spider or genetically altered to gain powers. Instead, his superpower comes from within, his immense skill, honed through years of training under the guidance of his father, the villainous Wenwu, Tony Leung, leader of the Ten Rings organization. It's a story rooted in identity, family legacy, and the internal struggle to break free from the dark past we try to escape. At the heart of the story is a complex family dynamic that has far-reaching consequences for the hero. The journey begins with Shang-Chi living in obscurity in San Francisco, leading a regular life as a valet, trying to leave behind the haunted memories of his childhood. But, as in all superhero tales, the past catches up to him when he is pulled back into the dangerous world of the Ten Rings. The tension in this story isn't just from the external enemies he faces, but from his internal conflict. Can Shang-Chi embrace his heritage and powers to stop his father, or will he succumb to the same darkness that consumed his family? What unfolds is a suspenseful plot filled with unexpected twists, breathtaking action sequences, and a journey of self-discovery. The plot of Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings is thrilling yet intimate. At its core, it's a tale of redemption and reconciliation. The movie opens with a prologue that reveals the long history of Wenwu, who has lived for centuries thanks to the Ten Rings, magical artifacts that grant their wielder immense power. But it's not just about power. Wenwu's character is layered with grief, loss, and longing. His quest for dominance stems not from a desire for world conquest, but from a place of deep emotional loss, the tragic death of his wife, a woman he loved deeply. His obsession with resurrecting her sets the stage for conflict, and his inability to let go of the past becomes the emotional anchor of the film. Shang-Chi's journey takes him from San Francisco to the mystical village of Ta Lo, an ancient, hidden place filled with secrets, magical creatures, and the key to unlocking the power of the Ten Rings. Along the way, he is joined by his friend Katie, Awkwafina, who, despite her comic relief role, becomes an essential part of his transformation. She is more than just a sidekick. She offers emotional support and adds humor in moments of tension. Her loyalty and genuine care for Shang-Chi make her an indispensable ally in this high-stakes journey. As the film progresses, it becomes clear that Shang-Chi is not simply about a fight for survival. It's a story about embracing one's true identity. Shang-Chi's greatest battle is against himself. Throughout the movie, we see the remnants of his guilt and shame, the constant fear that he is doomed to follow in his father's footsteps. As he faces increasingly formidable enemies, both external and internal, the real challenge is for Shang-Chi to reconcile his legacy with his future. Will he continue to run from the shadows of his father's reign, or will he confront them head-on and forge his own path? The visuals in Shang-Chi are nothing short of breathtaking. From the moment the film opens, audiences are treated to a stunning visual feast that blends traditional martial arts aesthetics with modern filmmaking techniques. The action choreography is one of the movie's standout features. There's an intricacy to every fight scene, from the breathtaking bus sequence in San Francisco to the climactic battles that take place in Ta Lo. The martial arts in this film aren't just for show, they represent emotional expression, the catharsis of characters who must fight not just for survival but for their souls. These action sequences are beautifully framed, often using the surrounding environment to heighten the intensity, whether it's the tight confines of the city streets or the wide, open spaces of mystical landscapes. Every movement feels deliberate, adding a layer of artistry to each punch and kick. But it's not just the fight choreography that impresses. Shang-Chi uses the mystical elements of the MCU in a way that feels fresh and exciting. The mythical creatures, like the dragon-like beast guarding Ta Lo, and the magic-infused elements add a layer of fantasy that feels seamlessly integrated into the world of the MCU. Ta Lo itself is a vibrant, almost otherworldly place, and the lush landscapes provide a stark contrast to the dark, gritty world of the Ten Rings. It's a visual shift that reflects Shang-Chi's own journey from darkness into light. And, of course, Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings brings an extraordinary ensemble cast that helps elevate the film to another level. Simu Liu brings a sense of relatability and charm to Shang-Chi, making him an incredibly endearing hero. He's not perfect, but that's what makes him compelling. He's on a journey, just like all of us, trying to understand who he is and what he's meant to do in the world. Tony Leung's portrayal of Wenwu is masterful. His character is not the typical evil villain, but a deeply conflicted man whose motivations stem from a place of love and loss. Leung's nuanced performance adds emotional depth to the film, making Wenwu one of the MCU's most memorable antagonists. Awkwafina, as Katie, provides much-needed humor and levity throughout the film. Her chemistry with Simu Liu is palpable, and she adds emotional resonance to their journey together. But it's not just about the leads. Meng'er Zhang's performance as Shang-Chi's estranged sister, Xialing, is another highlight. Her character's evolution, from a child who was abandoned to a strong, independent force in her own right, adds a vital dimension to the narrative. What truly captured audiences' attention with Shang-Chi was its authenticity. The film provides representation in a way that feels natural and meaningful, rather than forced. It embraces its Asian heritage without being confined by it, creating a narrative that resonates with viewers of all backgrounds. The cultural elements, from the music to the martial arts, are woven into the film in a way that feels organic and never heavy-handed. This is a movie that doesn't just tell the story of a hero, it tells the story of a culture, a family, and a legacy, while also embracing the universal themes of love, loss, and the pursuit of self. From a storytelling perspective, the film's pacing keeps you on the edge of your seat. The transitions between action and emotional depth are expertly handled, with no moment feeling out of place. Whether it's the intensity of the battles or the quieter, more personal moments, Shang-Chi never loses its sense of purpose. Every twist, every reveal, and every fight scene is carefully crafted to move the narrative forward, ensuring that audiences remain fully invested in the characters' journeys. Ultimately, Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings is a triumph, not just for Marvel, but for cinema as a whole. It's a film that defies expectations, offering a fresh take on the superhero genre while staying true to the core values that make these stories so enduring. It's a film that is visually stunning, emotionally resonant, and full of heart. But most importantly, it's a film that will leave you eager to see where this new hero's journey will take us next. So, if you haven't already, it's time to take a deeper dive into Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. The adventure, the spectacle, and the powerful emotional core await you, and trust us, it's a ride you won't want to miss. Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings begins with an opening prologue that feels almost mythic in scope, a tale that sets the tone for everything that's to come. The camera sweeps through lush forests, ancient landscapes, and over jagged mountains, all while introducing us to a man who will soon become one of the most powerful figures in the MCU, Wenwu. Played with brooding intensity by Tony Leung, Wenwu isn't just a villain. He's a complex figure who, centuries ago, discovered the magical Ten Rings, artifacts that grant their wielder immortality and vast power. These rings are not only weapons, they symbolize the eternal struggle for control, the desire to reshape the world according to one's will. We learn that Wenwu wasn't always the cold, calculating leader of the Ten Rings, feared across the globe. Once, he was a man in love, a warrior who sought to conquer not for domination, but for the right to protect what he cherished most. He falls in love with a woman named Li, who lives in the hidden village of Ta Lo, a mystical place protected by powerful beings and creatures. They meet, and Wenwu's love for her is undeniable. But tragedy strikes when his life as a conqueror catches up to him. Li leaves him, unable to bear the violence that accompanies Wenwu's pursuit of power, and in the wake of her departure, Wenwu becomes a broken man, determined to do whatever it takes to get her back. This prologue doesn't just set up Wenwu as the antagonist, it subtly begins to weave the central themes of the movie: loss, the desire to protect what you love, and the lengths we'll go to for redemption. This moment establishes the duality of Wenwu's character, a villain whose motivations are grounded in very human emotions, which will come to shape the conflict in the present day. Fast forward to the present, and we meet Shang-Chi, Simu Liu, a man living in relative obscurity in San Francisco. He's not the man we expect him to be, not yet. Known by the alias Sean, Shang-Chi spends his days as a valet at a luxury hotel, living a carefree life alongside his best friend, Katie, Awkwafina. Katie, a quirky, fun-loving character, is the perfect foil to Shang-Chi's more introspective nature. While Shang-Chi is quiet, reserved, and seemingly uninterested in his past, Katie is loud, spontaneous, and endlessly curious. Their friendship is pure and, despite their vastly different personalities, it's clear that they rely on each other. They have a light-heartedness that offers a contrast to the deeper conflicts simmering beneath the surface. However, this simple life begins to unravel when two mysterious assassins suddenly attack Shang-Chi on a bus. The bus fight scene is one of the first standout moments in the film, an intense, thrilling sequence that introduces Shang-Chi's extraordinary martial arts skills. The fight is chaotic, with Shang-Chi effortlessly taking down his attackers using a combination of quick reflexes and precise moves that hint at his training in ways that he never lets on. The choreography here is sleek and fluid, showcasing not only Shang-Chi's ability to fight but also his internal conflict. At this point, the audience doesn't know why he's so skilled or where these talents came from, but the fight serves as a spark, a moment that pulls Shang-Chi back into a world he has spent years trying to forget. The surprise attack ends when the assassins are forced to retreat, but it's clear that Shang-Chi's past is catching up to him. It's also here that we get our first glimpse of Xialing, Meng'er Zhang, Shang-Chi's estranged sister, who will play a crucial role in the unfolding story. After the attack, Shang-Chi confides in Katie, revealing some of his tragic backstory. He tells her that he was once trained by his father to be an assassin, and he ran away from that life in an attempt to escape the dark legacy that comes with the Ten Rings. This is the first of many emotional revelations that gradually peel back the layers of Shang-Chi's character, and it's clear from the start that his journey will not just be one of physical combat but also of emotional reckoning. Despite his desire to remain anonymous, Shang-Chi can't escape his past. Wenwu, his father, soon makes his move. The Ten Rings, his father's powerful organization, send forces to track down Shang-Chi, and this is when the true depth of the conflict begins to unfold. Shang-Chi and Katie are forced into a perilous situation when Wenwu orders his men to capture Shang-Chi. This leads them to the next major turning point in the narrative, a dramatic confrontation between father and son. At this point, we're introduced to Wenwu's complex relationship with Shang-Chi. We learn that Wenwu's obsession with finding Shang-Chi and forcing him to return to the Ten Rings organization stems from both a desire to control him and the lingering hope that his son will one day carry on his legacy. The father-son relationship is filled with tension, guilt, and unspoken expectations. Wenwu is determined to impose his will on Shang-Chi, expecting his son to embrace his power and position within the Ten Rings, but Shang-Chi has spent years running from this dark past. This emotional conflict forms the core of the movie. Shang-Chi's struggle to accept or reject his father's legacy and, in turn, his own. As the movie progresses, we get a sense of the emotional and thematic stakes involved in the battle for Shang-Chi's soul. At this stage in the film, Shang-Chi's story is rooted in escape. He wants nothing more than to sever his ties to the Ten Rings, his father, and the violent world he was raised in. But as the conflict intensifies, Shang-Chi realizes that he can no longer remain passive. The moment of realization occurs when his father's forces come after him directly, and he is forced to confront not only his family's legacy but also the dark truth about his past. The stakes are raised even further when we learn that Wenwu's quest to resurrect his long-lost wife, Li, is at the heart of the conflict. Wenwu believes that he can unlock the gates of Ta Lo, the mystical village where Li died, using the power of the Ten Rings, and this revelation sets the stage for the movie's larger mystical elements. Wenwu's obsession with his wife and his refusal to let go of the past is the driving force behind the increasingly dangerous actions he takes, and this makes him a much more sympathetic and tragic character than the typical villain. Shang-Chi's journey takes him from the streets of San Francisco to the heart of the mystical world of Ta Lo, a place hidden from the world and steeped in ancient magic. He is forced to confront his family's past and to reconcile his own feelings about his father's intentions. Along the way, we see flashbacks that illustrate the extent of Shang-Chi's training. His childhood was spent in brutal combat, learning the ways of the Ten Rings, and these moments of his early years offer insight into why he became the man he is today. Someone who despises violence, who seeks peace, but who can't escape the skills ingrained in him. As Shang-Chi, Katie, and their allies journey toward Ta Lo, the film starts to shift into a more fantastical territory, introducing mystical creatures and ancient forces. These elements are both beautiful and dangerous, with each new discovery about the world revealing a piece of the larger puzzle. In Ta Lo, Shang-Chi and his group will face far more than just his father. They will encounter ancient powers and face choices that will ultimately define the hero they become. The first half of Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings is an emotional roller coaster that expertly blends action and family drama, with the suspense steadily building toward the inevitable confrontation between father and son. The movie captures the tension of a man torn between the violence of his past and the possibility of redemption, setting up a story that will lead to the explosive emotional climax. The conflict isn't just about physical power. It's about the personal struggle to accept one's history and decide whether that history will define you or be left behind. From the opening fight on the bus to the journey to Ta Lo, each sequence adds a layer of complexity to Shang-Chi's character. We watch as he is slowly drawn back into the world he tried so hard to escape, and as he begins to face the hard truth about his legacy. It's a journey filled with exciting action, unexpected twists, and the deep emotional tension that drives the story forward. The first half of the movie doesn't just entertain, it sets up the inner and external conflicts that will ultimately determine Shang-Chi's fate. As the plot unfolds, it becomes clear that Shang-Chi is not just another superhero movie. It's a story of identity, family, and the powerful forces that shape us, whether we choose to embrace them or run from them. The true conflict has just begun, and the second half promises to deliver even more breathtaking moments as Shang-Chi is forced to fully confront his past, his father, and the true power that lies within him. The second half of Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings delivers an emotional and action-packed evolution of the story, taking us deeper into the heart of the conflict and propelling the characters into a world that tests their limits, both physically and emotionally. By the time we reach the midpoint of the film, Shang-Chi is on the verge of confronting not just his father but the very legacy that has haunted him for years. It's a journey that shifts from personal struggles to a much larger, cosmic confrontation, with the fate of entire realms hanging in the balance. The stakes are raised, and every decision made has far-reaching consequences. The journey to Ta Lo, the mystical village hidden from the world, marks the beginning of the film's second act. This ancient place, steeped in legend and protected by powerful beings, is where Shang-Chi's ultimate reckoning will take place. As the group, Shang-Chi, Katie, Xialing, and Wenwu's forces, arrives, the cinematic world shifts from the gritty streets of San Francisco to the lush and mystical surroundings of Ta Lo. The once peaceful, tranquil village now becomes the stage for a cataclysmic battle, where emotions, powers, and destiny will collide. The arrival in Ta Lo is not just a physical journey, it marks the beginning of Shang-Chi's final internal struggle. This is where he must confront the darker aspects of his legacy and his family's past. Upon entering the village, they meet Auntie Nan, Michelle Yeoh, a wise and powerful figure who will play a key role in guiding Shang-Chi through the process of rediscovering his true self. Auntie Nan explains the ancient history of Ta Lo, a place where warriors and magical creatures lived in harmony, protected from the outside world. The village is home to mystical beings known as the Guardians of Ta Lo, powerful creatures that can help protect the world from threats beyond comprehension. Here, we learn the true purpose of the Ten Rings. They were not created for power or domination, as Wenwu believes, but were once used to seal away an ancient evil, an otherworldly being known as the Dweller in Darkness. This malevolent entity, trapped in a prison for centuries, is the very force that Wenwu has unknowingly been trying to free with his relentless pursuit of the Ten Rings. He believes that by unlocking the power of the rings and opening the gates of Ta Lo, he can resurrect his wife, Li, whom he still mourns after all these years. This is the ultimate tragedy. Wenwu's obsession with reclaiming his lost love has blinded him to the catastrophic consequences of his actions. He doesn't realize that the power he seeks will unleash a far worse disaster than anything he's ever faced. For Shang-Chi, this revelation is a pivotal moment. His father's actions, once motivated by grief and love, have now spiraled into madness. Shang-Chi must now face the full weight of his family's legacy, the blood-soaked past of the Ten Rings, and decide whether to fight for his father or stop him before it's too late. The emotional stakes are monumental, and this revelation propels the narrative into its most intense phase. In the midst of these revelations, a tense showdown unfolds. Wenwu's relentless pursuit of Shang-Chi comes to a head when the villain directly confronts his son, seeking to force him into taking up his mantle and embracing the Ten Rings. This confrontation is filled with emotional weight as Shang-Chi is forced to grapple with the truth about his father's intentions. The scenes between father and son are the beating heart of the movie, with Tony Leung's portrayal of Wenwu showcasing the deep internal conflict of a man who is torn between his love for his son and his dangerous obsession with resurrecting his past. His desperate desire to fix the past, to undo the loss of his wife, makes him a tragic, multi-dimensional character, whose actions stem from the pain of losing the one person he truly loved. Shang-Chi, now fully understanding the immense responsibility that comes with the Ten Rings, refuses to join his father. In a charged moment, the father and son engage in an intense, emotionally charged battle. The fight choreography in this sequence is electric, each strike and movement carrying with it years of pent-up anger, confusion, and hurt. Shang-Chi's martial arts prowess shines in this battle, but the emotional stakes make it something much more than a mere physical fight. Every blow struck between father and son represents a clash of ideologies, one seeking to continue a legacy of destruction, the other seeking to break free and forge a new path. The tension reaches a boiling point when the Dweller in Darkness finally escapes its prison, unleashed by Wenwu's misguided attempt to open the gates to Ta Lo. The ancient evil begins to wreak havoc on the village, and it becomes clear that this is no longer a battle about family legacies. This is a fight for the survival of Ta Lo itself, and potentially the world. The Dweller in Darkness is a creature of pure malevolence, capable of corrupting and manipulating the environment around it. It's a terrifying force that represents all that is evil and chaotic in the world, and its mere presence adds an overwhelming sense of dread to the situation. As the creature breaks free, the fight for survival begins in earnest. Shang-Chi, now fully embracing his role as the hero, steps up to fight not only for his own redemption but for the protection of his friends and the world. It's in this moment that the film truly transitions from a personal struggle to an epic battle for the fate of the world, combining the superhero genre with elements of myth and fantasy in a thrilling climax. The battle against the Dweller in Darkness is a chaotic, action-packed sequence that tests the limits of every character involved. Shang-Chi, alongside Katie and Xialing, must work together to fight the creature and its minions. It's a spectacular display of action and teamwork, as the characters use their unique skills to stand against an unimaginable threat. The fight sequences are a whirlwind of movement, martial arts combat, and dazzling visual effects as the team fights to contain the evil that has been unleashed. The moment that truly sets Shang-Chi apart from other MCU heroes comes when he embraces the full power of the Ten Rings, not as a tool for domination or revenge, but as a symbol of his own strength, his own agency. In a stunning visual sequence, Shang-Chi harnesses the power of the rings to take on the Dweller in Darkness in a battle of wills. The rings, once a symbol of Wenwu's tyranny, become a symbol of Shang-Chi's determination and resolve. This shift marks Shang-Chi's complete transformation, as he finally takes control of his destiny and steps into his full role as a hero. As the climactic battle progresses, Shang-Chi faces off directly with Wenwu one final time. The emotional weight of this battle is immense. Shang-Chi must not only defeat his father's forces but also confront the broken man who raised him. In this heartbreaking moment, we see Wenwu's humanity shine through, as he realizes too late the destruction his obsession has caused. It's a tragic realization for Wenwu, he never understood the cost of his actions until it was too late. In the end, Wenwu's death is not a triumphant victory for Shang-Chi, it's a heartbreaking loss. Wenwu is not a straightforward villain, his motivations were rooted in love and grief, and his tragic end underscores the film's central theme: the price of letting the past dictate the future. Shang-Chi, torn between love for his father and the need to stop him, emerges from this battle not only as a hero but as someone who has come to terms with his legacy. The weight of this loss is palpable, and it sets Shang-Chi on a new path, a path where he can finally define himself on his own terms. The final moments of the film bring a sense of closure and growth for Shang-Chi. He has faced his past, reconciled with his family, and embraced his own identity. The bonds he has forged with Katie, Xiaoling, and the other members of Ta Lo are unbreakable. There's a sense of hope as the team stands united, having overcome not just a literal battle but the emotional and psychological battles that have defined their lives. In the aftermath of the battle, we see Shang-Chi reflect on his journey. He's no longer the boy running from his past. He is now a hero who understands that his legacy doesn't define him. It's the choices he makes that matter. This realization is powerful, and the film ends on a note of optimism, with Shang-Chi stepping into a new chapter of his life. As the credits roll, there's a post-credit scene that hints at Shang-Chi's future within the MCU. This scene sets up his inevitable connection to the larger Marvel universe, teasing further adventures and possibilities for the character. The film may have closed the chapter on Shang-Chi's personal journey, but the door to his future is wide open, promising new adventures and challenges. Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings concludes not only with thrilling action and epic battles but with emotional depth and a character arc that feels both personal and universal. It's a story of family, identity, and redemption, one that resonates deeply with anyone who has ever struggled with the weight of their own past. In the end, Shang-Chi emerges as one of the MCU's most compelling and relatable heroes, a character whose journey is just beginning, but whose impact will surely echo for years to come. Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings thrives not only because of its breathtaking action and stunning visuals but also because of the complex, multifaceted characters that anchor the story. The richness of these characters, particularly Shang-Chi, his father Wenwu, and their dynamic relationships with other figures in the narrative, drives the emotional core of the movie. As we explore these characters, it's clear that their growth and transformation throughout the film mirror the story's progression. From the struggle of identity and family to the clash between tradition and self-empowerment, the characters evolve in ways that are both deeply personal and universally relatable. At the heart of this story is Shang-Chi himself, portrayed by the charismatic and talented Simu Liu. From the outset, Shang-Chi's character is marked by a deep sense of disconnection. Living in San Francisco under the name Sean, he's buried the trauma of his past and adopted a new identity to distance himself from the violent life he once led. But his true nature, a highly skilled martial artist, keeps surfacing in moments of crisis, such as during the unforgettable bus fight sequence. The fight marks the first real revelation of Shang-Chi's martial arts abilities, but it also signals the start of his journey back to his roots, his origins, and the family that he tried so desperately to escape. At the beginning of the film, Shang-Chi is an enigma. He's a man living in the present, actively avoiding the past that shaped him. He's haunted by the shadow of his father, Wenwu, who raised him to be a weapon. There's a profound sense of conflict in Shang-Chi. He is a product of his father's cruel training, but he despises the violence that shaped his early life. Simu Liu brings this internal struggle to life with quiet intensity. His performance is subtle yet gripping, conveying a character that is torn between his sense of duty to his father and his desire to forge his own path. This internal conflict plays out in various ways throughout the film. Shang-Chi's evolution is primarily about reconciling the love he still has for his father and the hatred for the violent life he was forced into. The tension in his character comes from the push and pull between these two sides, as he's drawn into a battle that not only forces him to confront his past but also challenges his identity and sense of purpose. Shang-Chi's growth is defined by his decision to finally embrace his legacy, not as a continuation of his father's tyrannical rule, but as an individual who can use his skills to fight for something greater than himself. His relationship with Katie, played by Awkwafina, is integral to his development. Katie is a breath of fresh air in Shang-Chi's life. She's carefree, loyal, and most importantly, she acts as the catalyst for Shang-Chi's transformation. Unlike Shang-Chi, who's steeped in self-doubt and reluctant to reconnect with his true identity, Katie is a character who wholeheartedly believes in him. Her unwavering faith in Shang-Chi serves as both an emotional anchor and a moral compass, reminding him of who he is and what he's capable of. Awkwafina's performance brings both humor and depth to Katie, making her more than just comic relief. She is a grounded, relatable character whose loyalty to Shang-Chi drives the emotional backbone of the film. Xialing, played by Meng'er Zhang, Shang-Chi's estranged sister, also plays a crucial role in the development of the film's narrative. Xialing's motivations are complicated and steeped in pain and bitterness. Unlike Shang-Chi, who ran away from their father's abusive training, Xialing stayed, believing she had no other choice. Her anger toward Shang-Chi's abandonment of her and their family is palpable, and it takes time for the two to rebuild their bond. What's fascinating about Xialing is that, while she has been shaped by the same circumstances as Shang-Chi, her journey takes a different direction. Rather than abandoning the legacy of the Ten Rings, she chooses to create her own destiny by forging an independent path. Xialing's character arc is one of empowerment and defiance. She's deeply affected by the years of emotional neglect and abuse, and instead of letting that define her as a victim, she channels her anger into building a secret empire, one where she can be her own boss and shape her future on her own terms. This makes her a refreshing and compelling character, breaking the mold of traditional female characters in superhero stories. Meng'er Zhang brings a fierceness to Xialing, and her character's transformation, from a resentful sibling to a key player in the battle against Wenwu, feels both earned and rewarding. Then there's Wenwu, the film's central antagonist, played by the legendary Tony Leung. Wenwu is not a typical villain. His motivations are deeply rooted in love, grief, and the struggle to control his destiny. As the leader of the Ten Rings, Wenwu has lived for centuries, accumulating vast power and influence. But behind this fearsome exterior is a man who is desperately trying to reclaim the love he lost. The tragic flaw in Wenwu's character is his obsessive desire to bring back his wife, Li, who died many years ago. This grief fuels his actions throughout the film, including his attempt to use the Ten Rings to break the seal of Ta Lo and release the ancient evil trapped within. Tony Leung's performance as Wenwu is nothing short of mesmerizing. He brings a level of emotional depth to the character that elevates him beyond a simple antagonist. Wenwu's actions are driven by an insatiable need to undo the loss of his wife, and Leung imbues the character with a quiet intensity that makes him both a formidable foe and a tragic figure. When he finally faces his son, it's not just a fight between father and son, it's the confrontation of two individuals trapped in different worlds, both victims of their pasts. The way Leung shows Wenwu's internal conflict, particularly in his final moments, gives the character a humanity that makes his eventual death not a moment of triumph but one of tragic inevitability. Katie and Xialing, while both vital to Shang-Chi's journey, also help anchor the film's themes of family, loyalty, and finding one's path. Katie's unwavering support for Shang-Chi exemplifies the importance of friendship and loyalty. She's the voice of reason, often light-hearted, but when the stakes are high, her bravery and selflessness shine. Xialing, meanwhile, offers a different kind of strength, one born of self-reliance and the desire to control her own fate. As siblings, their relationship mirrors the broader theme of reconciling with one's past, and their growth throughout the film shows how people can rise above their trauma and find healing in unexpected places. A secondary but no less important character is Auntie Nan, played by Michelle Yeoh, the guardian and protector of Ta Lo. Auntie Nan represents the wisdom of the old world, a mentor who understands the ancient arts and the balance between light and dark forces. She offers Shang-Chi guidance in his quest to unlock his true potential. Yeoh, as always, brings gravitas and warmth to the role, providing a sense of spiritual direction for Shang-Chi as he grapples with his identity. Auntie Nan's presence serves as a reminder of the importance of balance and the power of wisdom passed down through generations. The secondary characters in Ta Lo, including the Guardians, play vital roles in both the film's mythology and the climactic battle. They serve as the protectors of the mystical realm, helping Shang-Chi, Katie, and Xialing in their fight against Wenwu and the Dweller in Darkness. While their individual arcs are less explored, their contribution to the film is essential in emphasizing the power of teamwork, loyalty, and honor. Their collective efforts show that no one can face a challenge alone, something that resonates with Shang-Chi's journey of self-acceptance and reconciling his past. As Shang-Chi progresses, it becomes clear that each of these characters is in some way trapped by their past. Whether it's Shang-Chi's reluctance to accept his legacy, Xiaoling's need to build her own empire, or Wenwu's fixation on reclaiming his lost love. What makes their arcs so compelling is how they evolve, how they come to realize that the past doesn't have to define them, and how they ultimately choose their futures. At its core, Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings is a story about identity and the relationships that shape it. Every character is grappling with what it means to define themselves, whether in opposition to or in alignment with their legacy. And through the performances of Simu Liu, Tony Leung, Awkwafina, Meng'er Zhang, and the rest of the cast, these complex characters become more than just archetypes. They become people whose motivations, struggles, and growth resonate deeply with the audience. Ultimately, Shang-Chi doesn't just succeed as a superhero movie. It thrives because of the depth of its characters, the raw emotion in their arcs, and the relationships that drive the story. From the emotionally charged father-son confrontations to the empowering moments of self-discovery, these characters are unforgettable because of the humanity they bring to the screen, making every action scene and plot twist feel earned, impactful, and deeply personal. Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings is a movie that not only captivates with its intense action and emotional depth but also rewards those with a keen eye for detail. As with many Marvel films, there are layers of subtle nods, Easter eggs, and references that enhance the narrative and create a richer viewing experience. From references to the broader Marvel Cinematic Universe, MCU, to historical and cultural allusions, Shang-Chi is packed with hidden details that deepen the story and tie it to the MCU's ever-expanding universe. Whether you're a dedicated Marvel fan or just someone who appreciates the nuances of filmmaking, these hidden gems offer a deeper understanding of the story and its characters. One of the most striking and significant elements of Shang-Chi is its connection to the broader MCU, beginning with the very first moments of the film. The opening sequence is a visual and thematic setup for everything that follows, setting the stage for not just the present conflict but the entire legacy of the Ten Rings. The film begins with a visually striking prologue featuring Wenwu, played by Tony Leung, explaining the origins of the Ten Rings. This sequence not only provides crucial backstory for the character of Wenwu but also cleverly introduces viewers to the symbolic power of the Ten Rings. Their ancient history and mystical properties are key to the story's development, and the scene hints at the cosmic scale of their influence. For Marvel fans, the Ten Rings themselves are a major Easter egg, connecting directly to the MCU's established lore. The Ten Rings organization was first introduced in Iron Man 3, 2013, where they were portrayed as a terrorist group led by the enigmatic Mandarin. However, this portrayal was later revealed to be a ruse, an act put on by actor Trevor Slattery, played by Ben Kingsley. Shang-Chi corrects this previous misdirection by revealing that the true Mandarin is, in fact, Wenwu, who has been leading the Ten Rings for centuries. This brings the story full circle, reintroducing the Ten Rings in a more substantial and menacing form and adding layers of complexity to the MCU's understanding of the character. Fans who are familiar with this plot thread will appreciate how the film ties up the lingering questions left by Iron Man 3. There's also a subtle visual connection to Iron Man 3 in the form of a brief cameo by Trevor Slattery, who is imprisoned in Ta Lo. This scene is a delightful callback to Iron Man 3, and it serves as both comic relief and a way to acknowledge the past. Trevor's presence in the mystical realm of Ta Lo is a moment of levity in an otherwise intense narrative, offering a sense of continuity for those paying attention to the broader MCU. Beyond direct MCU references, Shang-Chi also weaves in elements of Chinese mythology, which plays a significant role in both the story and the visual style of the film. One of the most important mythological allusions in the film is the Dweller in Darkness, the ancient evil that is sealed away in Ta Lo. This creature is inspired by a figure from traditional Chinese mythology, but its design and power are amplified for the cinematic universe. The Dweller's release represents not just a physical threat but also an emotional and symbolic reckoning for Shang-Chi and his family, bringing the consequences of the past to a head. The Ta Lo setting itself is rich with cultural references. As Shang-Chi and his allies journey into the mystical village, the ancient architecture, lush landscapes, and mythical creatures that populate the realm are directly inspired by Chinese folklore. The village's architecture and the guardians of Ta Lo, especially the mystical dragon-like creatures, are nods to traditional Chinese representations of harmony between man and nature. Ta Lo serves as a representation of balance, where the power of magic and martial arts coexist, and in a way, it mirrors Shang-Chi's personal growth, where he must balance his violent past with the peace he seeks in his future. One of the more subtle foreshadowing elements involves Shang-Chi's relationship with the Ten Rings. At the beginning of the film, he is depicted as rejecting the rings and the violent past associated with them. He's disconnected from his heritage, using his martial arts skills only as a means of survival, not as a weapon. However, as the story unfolds, it becomes clear that the true power of the Ten Rings is not in their destructive potential but in their ability to protect. This shift in perception is symbolic of Shang-Chi's own evolution. When he finally takes up the Ten Rings in the climactic battle against the Dweller in Darkness, it represents his acceptance of his past, not as something to be feared or buried but as something he can wield to protect those he loves. In addition to these larger thematic elements, the film also includes small, subtle details that only the most attentive viewers might notice. One such detail involves Shang-Chi's wristwatch. Throughout the film, he is seen wearing a simple, unassuming watch that is crucial in establishing his character's disconnection from his past. When he's younger, he is shown wearing a similar watch, his last link to the life he fled from. As the film progresses, this wristwatch evolves from a symbol of his emotional distance to a connection to his new self. In the final battle, when Shang-Chi embraces his role as a hero, he is seen wearing the watch, symbolizing the merging of his two identities. This small detail subtly mirrors his internal transformation, showing how even the most seemingly insignificant objects can carry deep emotional weight. Another nod to the past can be found in Xiaoling's secret underground fighting ring, a hidden world that she created in defiance of their father's legacy. In this setting, viewers are treated to a brief glimpse of Razor Fist, a character who plays a key role in the action sequences. Razor Fist's fighting style and the weapons he wields, most notably, his blade hand, are directly inspired by the original comic book version of the character. Razor Fist in the comics has a similar backstory, being a villain in the Shang-Chi mythos. The movie reimagines the character in a more nuanced way, turning him into an anti-hero who, by the end of the film, is on Shang-Chi's side. This is a perfect example of the filmmaker's ability to honor the comic book origins while reinterpreting the characters for the cinematic universe. The fight choreography itself is another area in which the filmmakers pay homage to traditional martial arts films. The bus fight scene in particular, where Shang-Chi faces off against the masked assassin, portrayed by Flora Chan, is a loving tribute to Hong Kong action cinema. The way the camera moves and the fluidity of the combat evoke the styles of legendary directors like Jackie Chan and Bruce Lee. This sequence is not just an action set piece. It's a visual reference to a long-standing tradition of martial arts films and a way of honoring the genre's impact on global cinema. Moving into the latter part of the film, Michelle Yeoh's role as Auntie Nan also contains references to her legacy in the film industry. As one of the most iconic martial artists in the history of cinema, Yeoh's casting in Shang-Chi serves as an homage to the Hong Kong action film genre and a passing of the torch. Her character is deeply connected to the mystical and martial arts traditions of Ta Lo, but Yeoh's performance also reflects the wisdom and strength of a woman who has lived through battles both physical and emotional. Auntie Nan's guidance to Shang-Chi is reminiscent of the way she herself was mentored in martial arts, and it's a powerful acknowledgement of the cyclical nature of martial arts mastery. One of the most significant Easter eggs in the film is the post-credit scene, which sets up future developments within the MCU. In this sequence, Benedict Wong, appears, joining Shang-Chi and Katie to discuss the nature of the Ten Rings and their potential implications for the future of the MCU. The scene features a holographic communication with Captain Marvel, Brie Larson, and Bruce Banner, Mark Ruffalo, which hints at the larger cosmic significance of the Ten Rings. This scene serves as a crucial bridge between Shang-Chi and the broader MCU, offering tantalizing hints at future crossover events and potential storylines. As for Shang-Chi's legacy within the MCU, the Ten Rings themselves become a symbol of power and potential in future films. The post-credit scene teases that the rings have a purpose beyond even their mystical origins, potentially connecting to alien or cosmic forces. This sets the stage for Shang-Chi's future role within the MCU, hinting at his involvement in upcoming crossovers like Avengers films or other team-up events. Another intriguing Easter egg for comic fans is the way the Ten Rings' powers are depicted. In the comics, the rings grant the user various abilities, each corresponding to a different type of elemental power. While the movie focuses on their ability to grant immense strength and agility, the potential for more nuanced abilities is left open. The way they are depicted in the film as glowing, energy-based bracelets could be a way to introduce their full range of powers in future installments, linking them to the elder gods or celestial entities that are often explored in Marvel's more cosmic stories. Lastly, the dragon imagery in the film, specifically in the final battle against the Dweller in Darkness, is rich with symbolic meaning. The creature that Shang-Chi encounters and must control is a representation of the dragon in Chinese culture, a symbol of strength, wisdom, and power. The dragon's appearance isn't just a fantastical element, it's a visual manifestation of Shang-Chi's own inner power and potential. The way he bonds with the creature marks his full acceptance of his heritage, blending the old with the new in a symbolic rebirth. In conclusion, Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings is an intricate tapestry of hidden details, Easter eggs, and references that pay homage to both the rich traditions of Chinese mythology and the expansive history of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. From the Ten Rings legacy to the mythological and martial arts references, these elements not only enrich the narrative but also add layers of depth for those who look closely. Every detail in the film, from the smallest symbolic gesture to the most significant Easter egg, weaves together to create a storytelling experience that is as immersive as it is rewarding. For the sharp-eyed viewer, Shang-Chi offers a treasure trove of hidden gems that will continue to resonate in future MCU films. Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings is not just a cinematic spectacle filled with breathtaking martial arts choreography and an emotional story. It's a product of numerous fascinating behind-the-scenes moments, unexpected challenges, and incredible creative decisions that all came together to shape the movie into the iconic success it is today. From the early stages of production to the remarkable performances of the cast, the making of Shang-Chi was an endeavor filled with passion, innovation, and, at times, intense pressure. There are plenty of behind-the-scenes stories and fun facts about the movie that paint a picture of the incredible effort that went into making the film. One of the most compelling aspects of the production of Shang-Chi was the commitment to authenticity in both the martial arts choreography and the cultural representation of Chinese mythology. This goal was set early on by the film's director, Destin Cretton, who became emotionally invested in telling a story that would resonate not just with Western audiences but with Asian communities around the world. In fact, Cretton himself is of Japanese-American descent, and his understanding of cultural nuance and importance in storytelling was a key driver for the film's authenticity. During the film's production, Cretton spoke about the immense pressure he felt in ensuring that the story did justice to both the legacy of the Marvel Universe and the cultural representations at its core. As he himself stated, Shang-Chi wasn't just about introducing a superhero into the MCU, it was about honoring the rich history of martial arts and Chinese storytelling traditions. To achieve that, Marvel Studios brought in some of the most talented martial arts choreographers in the world, including Andy Cheng, a veteran stunt coordinator with decades of experience in Hong Kong action cinema. Cheng, who worked on films such as Rush Hour 2 and The Karate Kid, 2010, was tasked with creating action sequences that would not only showcase the abilities of the characters but also celebrate the cultural heritage of the story. One of the standout action sequences, the bus fight scene, was the result of months of preparation, and its dynamic choreography reflected a seamless blend of traditional martial arts and modern action filmmaking. However, this sequence didn't come without its challenges. During rehearsals for the bus fight, Simu Liu, who plays Shang-Chi, underwent rigorous training in various martial arts styles, particularly in Wing Chun, the same style that Bruce Lee trained in. Liu's commitment to realism and his personal drive to master the choreography were put to the test, and in fact, he sustained some injuries during training, which added pressure to the already tight production schedule. Liu himself has since described how he was in constant physical pain while shooting the movie but was motivated by the desire to deliver an authentic performance that would do justice to the character and the film's cultural legacy. Liu's dedication to the physical demands of his role earned him the respect of both his castmates and the film's stunt team. One particularly fun fact is that Liu was the one who performed the majority of his own stunts. While Hollywood productions often rely heavily on stunt doubles, Liu was determined to show the world what he was capable of, and as a result, his physical transformation for the film was extraordinary. In fact, Liu went through months of rigorous training not just in martial arts but also in fitness regimens designed to push his endurance and strength to new heights. His hard work paid off, with his fight scenes feeling grounded, fluid, and impactful, qualities that have since earned the actor praise for his impressive performance. The final bus fight scene, in particular, is widely regarded as one of the best fight sequences in recent Marvel history. While the physical preparation for Shang-Chi was intense, the production's challenges weren't limited to just the action sequences. The design of the mystical world of Ta Lo presented its own set of hurdles. In an age where CGI often takes center stage, the team behind Shang-Chi made a conscious decision to keep many of the elements of Ta Lo as practical as possible. For example, the Guardians of Ta Lo, the mystical creatures that play a major role in the final battle of the film, were designed using a combination of practical effects and cutting-edge CGI. However, these creatures weren't entirely rendered through digital effects. The team utilized animatronics and puppet techniques, in line with the Marvel Studios' goal to create a tangible, believable world. The result is a stunning blend of fantasy and reality, with creatures that feel grounded within the world they inhabit. Another intriguing aspect of the production was the decision to film in Australia, where much of the movie's physical sets and fight sequences were shot. The country's vast landscapes provided the perfect backdrop for the more mystical elements of the film, especially the lush forests and mountain terrains that were digitally enhanced to create the ethereal realm of Ta Lo. Shooting in Australia also brought with it its own set of challenges. The crew had to deal with the harsh climate, particularly during the filming of the more grueling fight scenes. Some of the outdoor shots, which were filmed in the open air, were subject to unexpected weather changes, ranging from intense heat to heavy rain, which made the shooting conditions quite difficult. The film also shines due to the incredible ensemble cast, each of whom brought their own unique touch to the characters they portrayed. Simu Liu, as Shang-Chi, was making his first major film appearance in a leading role, but he was not new to the world of acting. Prior to Shang-Chi, Liu was best known for his work in the popular TV show Kim's Convenience, which catapulted him to stardom within the Asian Canadian community. However, Shang-Chi marked a massive leap in his career, and he made sure to capitalize on this opportunity. One of the standout moments of Liu's casting is the fact that he had actually campaigned for the role long before it was officially offered to him. In a now famous story, Liu took to social media to express his interest in playing the titular character, and this bold move caught the attention of the film's producers. Liu's enthusiastic approach to the role is a testament to his dedication to not just the film but the significance of representation in Hollywood. His casting was groundbreaking not just for the MCU but for the Asian community, offering them a leading man they could truly identify with. Alongside Liu, Awkwafina was cast as Katie, Shang-Chi's loyal and hilarious best friend. While Awkwafina's previous roles in Ocean's 8 and Crazy Rich Asians established her as a star, Shang-Chi allowed her to delve deeper into a more dramatic role. Interestingly, her character's development wasn't just about comedic relief. Katie goes through a remarkable transformation, evolving from a carefree, aimless character to a heroic figure in the climax of the movie. This transformation is something that Awkwafina took seriously, as she wanted to show that her character wasn't just the comic foil but someone capable of real growth and action. Awkwafina's ability to balance humor with heart made her one of the most beloved characters in the film. The casting of Tony Leung as Wenwu, Shang-Chi's father and the film's antagonist, was a stroke of genius. Leung is one of Hong Kong's most respected actors, and his inclusion in Shang-Chi added a level of gravitas and depth to the film. It was particularly interesting to see Leung, a well-established dramatic actor, play a villain. Wenwu is a multi-dimensional character whose motivations are driven by a tragic love story. Leung's portrayal of Wenwu was one of the most praised aspects of the film, with critics and audiences alike noting his ability to evoke both menace and empathy. For Leung, the experience was both fulfilling and challenging. He had to juggle the complexities of portraying a villain whose actions were driven not just by a thirst for power but also by grief and a desperate need for redemption. It was this complexity that made Wenwu such a memorable character and further elevated Shang-Chi from a typical superhero film to a character-driven masterpiece. Filming Shang-Chi also required an immense amount of trust between the director, cast, and crew. As Cretton worked with an international team of designers, stunt coordinators, and visual effects artists, it became clear that the process of making the film wasn't just about executing a script, it was about creating something that would have lasting cultural impact. Cretton himself embraced the challenges of balancing Marvel's high-octane, action-packed style with a more emotionally grounded, culturally respectful approach to storytelling. One of the unexpected challenges came during the editing process. Initially, the film was set to have a more typical Marvel superhero ending, but Cretton felt that it would have undermined the emotional journey of the characters. This led to an unexpected change in the film's climax, where the final battle against the Dweller in Darkness was more spiritually symbolic than simply a display of power. This shift in direction ultimately added a deeper layer to the narrative, resonating with the themes of family, legacy, and personal growth. While the production of Shang-Chi was largely smooth, the movie's success also sparked conversations about the changing landscape of Hollywood, particularly when it comes to Asian representation in major blockbuster films. The movie's widespread popularity prompted discussions around the need for more diverse stories and characters in the global entertainment industry. However, it wasn't without some controversy. There were discussions in the media and from certain critics regarding whether or not the film was too Asian for mainstream Western audiences. Despite the challenges, Shang-Chi became an undeniable success, breaking box office records and making history in more ways than one. Ultimately, Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings stands as a testament to the power of perseverance, creative vision, and cultural respect. It's a film born out of hard work, with every fight scene, character moment, and visual effect contributing to a larger narrative about identity, family, and legacy. Behind the scenes, the making of Shang-Chi was as monumental as the story it tells, with every actor, director, and crew member contributing to something that is not just a film but a landmark in cinematic history. Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings is a film that doesn't just rely on dazzling action sequences and vibrant visuals but also builds its emotional weight around moments of personal growth, family conflict, and self-identity. Throughout the movie, there are several pivotal scenes that are deeply embedded in the themes of the film. These moments are not just turning points for the characters but also resonate on a larger scale, shaping the narrative and providing insight into the core emotional fabric of the story. In this analysis, we'll delve into these key moments, exploring how they impact the story's emotional trajectory, thematic weight, and the audience's overall experience. The movie begins with a captivating prologue that sets the stage for everything to come. This sequence introduces us to Wenwu, Tony Leung, the film's antagonist, and the origins of the Ten Rings, presenting a dynamic that becomes central to the narrative. Here, we see the Ten Rings as a source of unimaginable power, granted to Wenwu after centuries of searching and conquering. This scene serves as both an action-packed introduction to Wenwu's strength and the mystical powers of the rings, but also as a tragic backstory that frames the emotional core of the movie. This moment is critical because it provides us with context for Wenwu's decisions and motivations later in the film. His transformation from a seemingly cold-hearted conqueror to a deeply emotional father figure is a key element of the story. The prologue sets up a conflict between the past and the present. Wenwu's yearning for eternal life and the love of his life, Li Fala Chen, creates an emotional foundation that drives his actions throughout the movie. His belief that he can bring back Li through the power of the Ten Rings is what fuels his entire arc, and it underscores the central theme of the film: the destructive power of grief and the lengths one is willing to go to for love. The scene also introduces the duality of Wenwu. His power is immense, but it is a hollow pursuit without the love of his life. This duality, between ruthless power and longing vulnerability, sets up the emotional stakes for Shang-Chi and makes him a more relatable character, despite the large-scale fantasy elements. Wenwu's character is far from a one-dimensional villain. His personal grief and emotional turmoil are what ultimately make his arc tragic and multidimensional, allowing the audience to sympathize with him even as he becomes the antagonist. As the film transitions into the present-day narrative, we are introduced to Shang-Chi, Simu Liu, who is living a carefree life in San Francisco. However, his past is never far behind, and one of the first emotional turning points in the film comes when Shang-Chi's history with his father is revealed. The flashback sequence, which shows a young Shang-Chi being trained by Wenwu, is pivotal in establishing the depth of the father-son relationship and the internal conflict Shang-Chi carries throughout the movie. In this flashback, we witness the intense training and discipline that Wenwu forces upon Shang-Chi, as well as the psychological and emotional scars that it leaves. Shang-Chi's early refusal to embrace his father's ideals and the brutal, unforgiving martial arts training establish the inner turmoil that the character must navigate throughout the story. This moment is more than just a glimpse into Shang-Chi's past. It's a revelation of the personal cost of living under the shadow of a powerful and often abusive figure like Wenwu. This moment impacts the story in several ways. First, it introduces us to Shang-Chi's reluctance to confront his father, which shapes much of his character throughout the film. He avoids discussing his past, choosing instead to live a carefree life, burying the trauma of his upbringing. But this internal conflict is always bubbling beneath the surface, especially when he is forced to confront his father again. For the audience, the flashback serves as an emotional anchor, giving us insight into Shang-Chi's motivations and emotional state, allowing us to understand why he has distanced himself from his father and why he is initially hesitant to get involved in the conflict. The emotional weight of this flashback is compounded by the decision to leave. Shang-Chi's departure from Wenwu's strict training is an act of rebellion and independence. He rejects the violent legacy his father tried to impose on him, but in doing so, he also walks away from his heritage and family. This decision is the source of much of Shang-Chi's internal struggle and ultimately his journey toward reconciling with his past. It sets up the themes of identity and belonging, which will continue to evolve throughout the film. One of the first major action scenes in Shang-Chi is the bus fight, where Shang-Chi faces off against the masked assassin, Flora Chan, who is sent by Wenwu to track him down. This moment, beyond its thrilling fight choreography, serves as a key character-building scene for Shang-Chi and sets the tone for the movie's unique blend of action and emotion. In terms of action, the bus fight stands out as one of the most exciting and well-executed sequences in the MCU. The choreography is fast-paced, fluid, and highly dynamic, showcasing Shang-Chi's skill and resourcefulness in tight quarters. It's a perfect blend of traditional martial arts and modern action filmmaking, with the use of the bus environment making the scene feel unique and intense. However, the true significance of this fight is how it reveals Shang-Chi's reluctance to embrace his heritage. As Shang-Chi initially tries to avoid fighting, it is clear that he has suppressed his past abilities and desires. He uses his martial arts training only when forced to, trying to keep a low profile and remain disconnected from his father's legacy. The fight serves as a turning point for Shang-Chi, as he is forced to tap into his long-buried skills, showing that, despite his efforts to leave it behind, the shadow of his past is never too far away. This scene is also crucial in the development of Katie, Awkwafina, who serves as Shang-Chi's friend and eventual ally. Her involvement in the fight, both as a comic relief figure and as an active participant, signals that she will be more than just a sidekick. Katie's growing involvement in the action not only gives her character more depth but also highlights the importance of relationships in the film. Despite their differences, Katie and Shang-Chi's bond grows throughout the movie, and her role in the bus fight shows that she is more than capable of standing by Shang-Chi's side when the moment calls for it. This subtle development allows the film to have a grounding human element amid the high-flying action and fantastical elements. The next crucial turning point in the film occurs when Shang-Chi and Katie travel to Tao Lo, where Shang-Chi's long-lost sister, Xialing, Meng'er Zhang, resides. This moment is essential for both Shang-Chi's character arc and the larger narrative, as it brings together family members who have been separated for years. The discovery of the hidden village of Tao Lo, with its breathtaking landscapes and mystical atmosphere, is a visual treat and represents a journey not just to a physical location but to a deeper understanding of Shang-Chi's roots. The reunion between Shang-Chi and Xialing is fraught with tension, revealing the emotional wounds left by their father's actions. The scene underscores the theme of family trauma and the long-lasting effects of a fractured relationship. Xialing's resentment toward Shang-Chi for abandoning her and their father's legacy creates a moment of intense emotional conflict that enriches the film's narrative. It becomes clear that Shang-Chi's journey is not just about saving the world but also about reconciling with the family he left behind and facing the emotional consequences of his past decisions. The final act of the film sees the ultimate confrontation between father and son, where Shang-Chi must face Wenwu once and for all. This battle, while visually spectacular, is also deeply emotional. It becomes clear that Wenwu's actions throughout the film have been driven by grief, not just power. His desire to use the 10 rings to resurrect his wife is a tragic reflection of the power of loss and the way grief can distort one's sense of reality. Shang-Chi's decision to stand up to his father is a powerful moment of self-realization. He acknowledges the pain of his past but chooses to define his own path, rather than continue to live in his father's shadow. The fight is not only a physical battle but an emotional one, as it represents Shang-Chi's confrontation with his past, his family, and the legacy of the 10 rings. When Shang-Chi ultimately defeats Wenwu, it's not with brute strength alone but with the wisdom he has gained throughout his journey, understanding that true strength lies not in power but in the ability to let go and move forward. This resolution gives the film a sense of closure, not just for Shang-Chi but also for Wenwu, whose character is not defined by villainy but by a tragic loss and misguided attempts to reclaim what was lost. In the end, the film's emotional resonance is rooted in its exploration of identity, family, and the complexities of personal growth. Every key moment builds on these themes, allowing the audience to connect with the characters on a deeper level. From the early struggles with family trauma to the final, cathartic moments of reconciliation, Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings provides a rich, emotional journey that transcends the superhero genre, leaving the audience with a story that lingers long after the credits roll. Creating a movie like Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings is a monumental task, one that requires not only vision but also an extraordinary commitment to technical skill, creativity, and collaboration. Every aspect of this film was carefully crafted to bring the rich world of martial arts and mysticism to life, and behind the scenes, countless decisions were made that would shape the final product. From the choreography of the fight scenes to the design of the mythical world of Tao Lo, the technical feats that helped Shang-Chi stand out are nothing short of impressive. But it wasn't just the special effects and stunt work that made this film great, it was also the creative risks taken by the filmmakers and the personal dedication they poured into every detail. Let's dive into some of the most fascinating behind-the-scenes insights that made Shang-Chi a groundbreaking achievement in cinema. From the very beginning, Shang-Chi stood out because of its commitment to authenticity and respect for its source material. Director Destin Cretton, who had previously directed the acclaimed short-term 12 and The Glass Castle, approached the film with a deep understanding of the story's emotional core. He knew that it wasn't just the martial arts and action sequences that would make this film memorable. It was the personal journeys of the characters, particularly Shang-Chi, and the nuanced relationships between the family members. But Cretton's goal was also to bring the world of Shang-Chi to life in a way that felt fresh and innovative. A big part of this came from the decision to blend the mystical with the martial arts in a way that hadn't been done before in superhero films. One of the most fascinating aspects of the production was the casting of the film, which brought a much-needed sense of authenticity to the roles. Simu Liu was cast as Shang-Chi, a role that required not just acting skills but a deep understanding of martial arts. Liu, an actor of Chinese-Canadian descent, had no prior experience in martial arts before joining the film. His dedication to the role is evident in his commitment to months of rigorous training. Under the guidance of renowned stunt coordinator Brad Allen, Liu spent months honing his fighting skills, learning both traditional and modern martial arts techniques. His training was grueling. He had to master a wide array of fighting styles, including Wing Chun, Wushu, and Taekwondo, making the physical demands of the role incredibly challenging. What's remarkable is that Liu didn't just train for the choreography. He also worked with the filmmakers to develop his character's journey, ensuring that the emotional beats and physical performances were deeply intertwined. His dedication is evident in the final product, where the fluidity and believability of his fight scenes stand as a testament to his hard work and perseverance. The film also shines because of its fight choreography, which blends traditional martial arts with cinematic spectacle. Brad Allen, the film's stunt coordinator, was a key figure in making the action sequences truly exceptional. Allen, who had worked on multiple other Marvel films, brought his expertise and passion for martial arts to every scene. The choreography isn't just about fighting, it's about expressing character through movement. For example, in the fight sequences, Shang-Chi's movements reflect his internal struggles. In the bus fight, his reluctance to fully embrace his past is mirrored by his hesitation in using his martial arts skills. This nuanced approach to fight choreography was not only an artistic choice but a storytelling technique, ensuring that every punch and kick conveyed something deeper about the character's emotional journey. Ultimately, the technical feats of Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings go beyond just the impressive visuals and action sequences. The production's success lies in the seamless integration of its various elements. The martial arts choreography, visual effects, costume design, music, and acting all came together to create a unique cinematic experience that both respects its cultural origins and brings something new to the genre. Each behind-the-scenes decision helped to elevate the final product, making Shang-Chi a true cinematic achievement. The dedication and hard work of the cast and crew are what made this movie not just a superhero film but a cultural milestone in modern cinema. Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings is more than just an exhilarating action-packed superhero movie. At its core, it explores profound themes of identity, family, legacy, grief, and self-discovery. These themes resonate not only within the world of the film but also mirror real-world issues, addressing the complexities of the human experience in ways that feel deeply personal and universally relatable. The film's exploration of culture, the search for belonging, and the struggle between tradition and modernity provides a rich tapestry for social commentary, making it an important cultural artifact in today's cinematic landscape. At the center of the story is Shang-Chi, Simu Liu, a character caught between two worlds: his father's legacy as a ruthless warlord wielding the power of the Ten Rings, and his desire to live a normal life in San Francisco. The theme of identity is one of the most dominant and personal throughout the film. Shang-Chi is a character in search of himself, not just as a superhero but as an individual navigating the complex relationship between his heritage and his own values. His journey reflects the struggle many people face when growing up in a multicultural environment, especially those who, like Shang-Chi, are of Asian descent in the West. Throughout the film, we witness Shang-Chi's inner conflict as he distances himself from his father's violent past, seeking to define himself by his own choices rather than the path set before him. This tension between self-determination and inherited legacy is central to the character's evolution. It speaks to a broader struggle of individuals trying to reconcile their cultural heritage with the pressures of modern society. Shang-Chi's decision to leave his family behind and forge his own path is a powerful metaphor for breaking free from the cycles of generational trauma and reclaiming one's autonomy. In a broader context, this theme of identity is a reflection of the real-world experiences of many children of immigrants, particularly in Asian diasporas. The pressure to maintain the traditions of one's parents while simultaneously navigating the complexities of a foreign culture is a defining aspect of the immigrant experience. Shang-Chi's struggles resonate deeply with audiences who feel torn between honoring their family's heritage and forging their own path in the world. The film captures the nuanced reality of growing up in a society that expects assimilation while also clinging to traditions that may seem out of place in a modern context. It speaks to the challenges of balancing one's roots with the need for personal growth and independence. Another core theme of Shang-Chi is the power of family, specifically the bond between father and son. The relationship between Shang-Chi and his father, Wenwu, Tony Leung, is fraught with conflict but also carries an undeniable emotional weight. Wenwu is a complex antagonist, driven not just by a desire for power but by an overwhelming grief after the loss of his wife, Li Fala-chen. His love for her, and his misguided belief that the Ten Rings can bring her back, propels him to commit unspeakable acts over the centuries. However, despite his actions, there is an undeniable vulnerability in Wenwu. His obsession with the Ten Rings and his emotional manipulation of his children are the result of deep pain, not inherent evil. The film thus explores how grief can distort one's sense of reality and become a driving force for destructive behavior. Wenwu's desire to resurrect his wife becomes an all-consuming quest that blinds him to the consequences of his actions, and it is this grief that alienates him from his children. He seeks to force Shang-Chi into his violent legacy, but Shang-Chi rejects that path, ultimately confronting his father with the painful truth that the past cannot be undone. This father-son dynamic is the emotional core of the film, and it adds significant depth to the story. It speaks to the ways in which familial relationships can be both a source of love and pain, particularly when the expectations and sacrifices made by one generation clash with the needs and desires of the next. The symbolism within Shang-Chi is rich and layered, serving to enhance the emotional and thematic weight of the narrative. One of the most significant symbols in the film is the Ten Rings themselves. The rings are not just weapons of immense power, they represent an unbroken chain of violence and conquest that spans centuries. They are a metaphor for the destructive legacy of power, greed, and obsession, handed down through generations. Wenwu's use of the rings to control and conquer the world is symbolic of how unchecked power can become a hereditary burden, passed from one generation to the next, trapping individuals in cycles of destruction. The rings also represent the possibility of transcendence. When Shang-Chi finally masters the rings, it is not through brute force or mere inheritance but through understanding, acceptance, and self-realization. This shift in how the rings are used underscores the film's larger theme of breaking free from the past, transforming something that was once a tool of destruction into a symbol of empowerment. Shang-Chi's mastery of the rings signifies his ability to break the cycle of violence and forge a new path for himself and for his family. Another symbolic element in the film is Tao Lo, the hidden village where the final battle takes place. Tao Lo is portrayed as a mystical, serene paradise, and it serves as both a literal and metaphorical place of rebirth. The village is a haven where Shang-Chi connects with his heritage and uncovers the deeper aspects of his identity. It is a place where he begins to understand that his connection to his father, as painful as it may be, is part of who he is, and it is only by accepting this that he can move forward. Tao Lo, in its otherworldly beauty, also represents the harmony between ancient traditions and the future, a balance that Shang-Chi must find within himself. It's a place where he confronts his grief and steps into his own power, becoming both the son and the hero he was meant to be. The mythical creature that emerges from the mystical realm, the Dweller in Darkness, also serves as a symbol of repressed trauma and unchecked desire. This ancient evil, unleashed by Wenwu's obsession with resurrecting his wife, symbolizes the destructive force of grief when left unchecked. In a very literal sense, the Dweller is a creature born from the negative emotions that have festered for centuries. Its appearance is a visual manifestation of the movie's central conflict: how unprocessed grief, hatred, and obsession can create monstrous consequences. This creature represents not just an external threat but the internal emotional turmoil that comes with losing someone you love and being consumed by the need to bring them back at all costs. While Shang-Chi explores personal and familial themes, it also delves into broader social and cultural issues. The film stands out for its celebration of Asian culture and its representation of Chinese and Chinese-American characters in a way that has historically been rare in mainstream Hollywood cinema. The film challenges long-standing stereotypes about Asian people, presenting a narrative where characters are fully realized, complex, and multidimensional. For instance, Xialing, Meng'er Zhang, Shang-Chi's sister, is not a passive character but a powerful and independent woman who has her own story arc. She is both a victim of her father's neglect and a survivor of his abusive training. Xialing's rise to power, including her creation of an underground fighting ring, showcases her agency and complexity as a character. She represents the strength that can come from pain and the desire for empowerment after years of feeling sidelined. Her eventual alliance with Shang-Chi is a powerful moment of reconciliation between siblings who are both harmed by their father's actions but ultimately find strength in each other. The film also speaks to the idea of cultural assimilation and the experience of being othered in Western society. Shang-Chi's initial rejection of his past and his desire to fit into a more normal American life reflects the immigrant experience of navigating a world that often demands assimilation. His journey is one of embracing his cultural heritage and finding pride in it rather than trying to escape it. This speaks to the broader theme of identity formation, where embracing one's roots is not just an act of personal growth but a form of resistance against the forces that demand conformity. On a societal level, Shang-Chi touches on themes of toxic masculinity, particularly through the character of Wenwu. The way he raises his children, particularly Shang-Chi, through violence and intimidation is a critique of the harmful expectations placed on men to be powerful and emotionally stoic. Wenwu's inability to process his emotions and his reliance on the rings as a form of control ultimately destroy his family. In contrast, Shang-Chi's emotional journey involves breaking free from these toxic expectations and learning that strength comes not from domination but from emotional awareness, vulnerability, and compassion. In a sense, Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings is a film that invites audiences to reflect on what it means to inherit the past while forging a new future. It challenges the idea of predestination, encouraging viewers to consider how identity is shaped not only by familial expectations but by personal choice. The film's blending of martial arts spectacle, fantasy elements, and poignant emotional storytelling makes it more than just a superhero movie. It's a reflection of the complexities of identity, family, and cultural heritage in the modern world. Through its rich symbolism, exploration of real-world issues, and complex characters, Shang-Chi offers a narrative that resonates deeply with audiences, making it not only a cultural milestone but also a work of art that transcends entertainment. In Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, the marriage of cinematography, sound design, and visual storytelling forms the backbone of the film's immersive experience. Director Destin Cretton, along with his creative team, used these elements not only to create a stunning visual spectacle but also to support and amplify the themes of identity, family, and legacy. Every decision made in the film's visual language is deliberate, helping to reinforce the emotional depth of the narrative while guiding the audience through its complex, multi-layered story. From the intricacy of fight choreography to the breathtaking landscapes, Shang-Chi is a prime example of how cinematic techniques can enhance storytelling. At the heart of the film's visual storytelling is its cinematography, led by Bill Pope, whose expertise in shooting action-heavy films, such as The Matrix and Spider-Man 2, is evident in Shang-Chi. Pope's camera work goes beyond just capturing action. He uses the camera to explore the emotional arcs of the characters and to deepen the viewer's connection to the story. The camera often feels like a character in itself, moving with intention and purpose to highlight the stakes of the moment, whether that's a small, intimate scene or a sweeping, grand battle. The fight sequences in Shang-Chi stand out as some of the most visually dynamic scenes in superhero cinema. The use of camera movement in these sequences is particularly remarkable. The film embraces fluid, unbroken shots that allow the choreography to unfold in real time, inviting the audience into the intensity of the action. One of the best examples of this is the bus fight sequence early in the film, where Shang-Chi has to fend off attackers while maintaining control of the vehicle. The camera moves seamlessly around the characters, capturing the chaos of the scene while still giving the audience a clear view of the characters' actions and reactions. The camera's movement in this sequence helps to convey a sense of urgency and spontaneity, making the viewer feel as though they are right there in the middle of the fight. The choreography of the action sequences is in perfect harmony with the camera work. The fight scenes are often framed in such a way that the movement of the actors feels fluid and graceful, yet highly controlled. This is especially evident in the scenes where Shang-Chi faces off against skilled opponents, such as his sister, Xialing, or the Ten Rings elite soldiers. The use of wide shots and long takes allows the choreography to unfold without interruption, showcasing the complexity and beauty of the martial arts being performed. In this sense, the camera is not just a passive observer of the action, it's an active participant, framing the moves in a way that highlights their emotional and narrative significance. The lighting in Shang-Chi also plays a pivotal role in shaping the film's tone and visual storytelling. The film shifts between bright, sunny sequences set in urban landscapes and dark, atmospheric moments in the mystical world of Tao Lo. These contrasts in lighting serve to emphasize the dichotomy of Shang-Chi's life. When he's living in San Francisco, there's a sense of normalcy, and the lighting is often warm and natural, reflecting the idea that he's trying to live a simple, peaceful life. However, as the story progresses and he reconnects with his past, the lighting becomes more dramatic and moody. This shift highlights the growing tension and the character's return to his roots. The lighting during the scenes in Tao Lo is particularly striking, where the mystical elements of the story come to life. The lush greenery of the hidden village is bathed in soft, ethereal light, creating a sense of serenity and mysticism. The use of shadows in these scenes contrasts with the vibrant natural beauty of the environment, suggesting that there is something ancient and mysterious at play beneath the surface. This visual juxtaposition mirrors Shang-Chi's emotional journey as he comes to terms with his heritage. In contrast to the bright, open landscapes of the modern world, the lighting in Tao Lo reflects the spiritual and emotional weight of Shang-Chi's journey to reconnect with his past. The use of color is another essential visual tool that enhances the film's storytelling. Colors often carry emotional weight, helping to evoke specific feelings and underline narrative arcs. For example, the vibrant reds and golds that dominate the Ten Rings imagery evoke a sense of power and danger. These colors, which are also tied to Chinese symbolism, act as a constant reminder of the weight of legacy that hangs over Shang-Chi. Conversely, the Tao Lo sequences feature a more muted, earthy color palette, evoking a sense of peace and balance that stands in stark contrast to the destructive power of the rings. The color contrast between the two worlds, modern-day San Francisco and the ancient Tao Lo, mirrors Shang-Chi's journey of self-discovery. He must reconcile his past with the present and embrace his heritage in order to forge his future. In addition to color and lighting, editing in Shang-Chi is another key element in how the film conveys its narrative. The rhythm of the editing plays a crucial role in shaping the pace of the film, particularly during the action sequences. Fast cuts and quick transitions are used to build tension and excitement during intense fight scenes, but the film never loses track of character development. This is one of the standout features of the editing style. It maintains an emotional connection with the characters, even in the midst of action. During quieter moments, such as the scenes where Shang-Chi confronts his father, the pacing slows, allowing the emotional weight of the scene to fully land. This contrast between rapid action and reflective, slower moments ensures that the film never feels rushed, and the emotional stakes are always front and center. There are moments in the film when the editing style is deliberately used to emphasize the clash between the modern world and the ancient, mystical elements. The transition between the urban landscapes of San Francisco and the fantasy world of Tao Lo is marked by smooth, seamless editing, transporting the audience between these worlds effortlessly. However, there are also moments when the pacing is deliberately interrupted to show the characters' inner turmoil. These visual and editorial choices draw the audience into the emotional landscape of the characters, making it clear that the conflicts they face are as much internal as they are external. One of the most visually stunning sequences in the film is the bamboo forest fight, which combines both breathtaking choreography and awe-inspiring visual effects. The fight takes place in a sprawling bamboo forest, where the characters interact with their environment as part of the battle. The camera work in this scene is particularly important, as it captures both the beauty and danger of the setting. The fight is framed through dynamic angles that allow the bamboo stalks to become part of the choreography, creating a sense of both danger and beauty. The bamboo itself seems to shift and bend in response to the characters' movements, almost as if it were alive. This ethereal, fluid environment contrasts with the gritty realism of the earlier fight sequences, showcasing the film's ability to blend realism with fantasy in an organic and seamless way. This fluid integration of the environment into the fight choreography is a hallmark of the film's stylistic approach to visual storytelling. The director's vision for Shang-Chi was to create a superhero film that felt both grounded and fantastical. The world of Shang-Chi is one that seamlessly blends ancient mysticism with modern action, and the cinematography supports this vision by balancing the two worlds visually. The use of slow motion and long takes in the fight scenes allows for the beauty of the martial arts to shine through, while the vibrant settings and detailed costumes give the world a rich, lived-in feel. This attention to detail is essential to the film's emotional depth, as it makes the mystical elements of the story feel tangible and real, as if they were part of a living, breathing world. Another significant element of the film's visual storytelling is its sound design. The sound in Shang-Chi is integral to its cinematic experience, enhancing both the action and the emotional moments. The film's soundscape shifts between the intensity of battle and the quietude of reflection, with the music and sound effects amplifying each moment. The sound design helps to immerse the audience in the world of the film, from the raucous energy of the bus fight to the mystical ambience of Tao Lo. The score, composed by Joel P. West, blends traditional Chinese instruments with modern orchestral music, creating a dynamic and unique sound that complements the visual elements. The music works in tandem with the cinematography to evoke the emotional tone of each scene. During action sequences, the music swells, amplifying the adrenaline-pumping excitement, while in quieter, more introspective moments, the score pulls back, allowing the sound design and the actors' performances to take center stage. Finally, the film's visual effects, while often providing the spectacle, are used with restraint and purpose. The mystical creatures, such as the Dweller in Darkness, are brought to life through state-of-the-art CGI, but their design never overwhelms the characters. Instead, the visual effects are used to enhance the emotional journey of the characters. The moment when Shang-Chi taps into the power of the Ten Rings is not just about the spectacle of the rings' glowing power, it's a culmination of his internal transformation, where the visual effects serve as a representation of his emotional growth. In conclusion, Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings is a film where cinematic techniques are used to deepen the narrative and amplify the emotional and thematic content. From the fluidity of the choreography and camera work to the atmospheric lighting, editing, and sound design, every technical choice serves to elevate the storytelling. The visual language of the film enhances the viewer's connection to the characters and the world they inhabit, ensuring that every punch, every moment of tension, and every emotional beat is felt on a deeper level. Through the careful integration of these cinematic elements, Shang-Chi becomes not only a stunning visual achievement but also a powerful and emotionally resonant story. The success of Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings can be attributed not just to its stunning visuals and groundbreaking martial arts choreography but also to the extraordinary chemistry between its cast members. The film's ensemble cast, led by Simu Liu as Shang-Chi, Tony Leung as Wenwu, and Awkwafina as Katie, brought a unique energy to the project that was both refreshing and deeply compelling. Their performances were central to the film's emotional core, and the way in which they interacted on screen enhanced the overall narrative in ways that made the story feel authentic and relatable. The camaraderie and connection between the actors, both on and off set, played an essential role in bringing the characters and their journeys to life. Simu Liu's portrayal of Shang-Chi, the titular hero, was an instant standout. Having previously starred in television roles, Liu was relatively unknown to mainstream audiences at the time of casting, but he quickly made an impact with his nuanced performance. What made Liu's portrayal so effective was the natural balance he brought to the role. Shang-Chi, a character burdened by his past but seeking redemption, required an actor who could embody both emotional depth and physical prowess. Liu's inherent warmth and relatability added layers to the character, making Shang-Chi not only a hero but a person viewers could connect with on a deeply personal level. The chemistry between Liu and his co-stars is palpable, especially with Tony Leung, who portrayed Shang-Chi's father, Wenwu. Leung, a legendary Hong Kong actor known for his captivating performances in films such as In the Mood for Love and Chungking Express, brought gravitas and depth to the character of Wenwu, a man whose love for his wife and children is tainted by his obsession with the Ten Rings. Wenwu's emotional journey and his complex relationship with Shang-Chi are key to the film's emotional weight, and Leung's performance grounded the film in a way that made the character's actions both relatable and tragic. The on-screen dynamic between Liu and Leung was electric. Their interactions felt lived-in and authentic, with the father-son tension that defines much of the film's emotional narrative taking center stage. The love-hate relationship between Shang-Chi and Wenwu is a powerful driving force throughout the film, and the ability of Liu and Leung to convincingly portray such a complex bond was critical in making the story resonate with audiences. In interviews, both actors spoke about the importance of building a real connection on set to capture the emotional weight of their scenes together. Liu, in particular, mentioned how he sought advice from Leung on how to navigate the intense emotional scenes, and Leung's mentorship played a key role in helping Liu deliver a performance that balanced both vulnerability and strength. As Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings hit theaters in September 2021, audience reactions were overwhelmingly positive. The film was lauded for its groundbreaking representation of Asian characters and its ability to blend action, heart, and humor seamlessly. Viewers were particularly taken with Simu Liu's portrayal of Shang-Chi, with many praising his charismatic performance and his ability to bring emotional depth to the character. Tony Leung's performance as Wenwu also received widespread acclaim, with critics and audiences alike noting how the actor's nuanced portrayal elevated the character from a typical villain to a deeply tragic figure. The film's action sequences were also a major talking point. Fans were impressed with the choreography and the visceral energy of the martial arts battles, particularly the bus fight and the bamboo forest sequence. The film's ability to showcase traditional kung fu and martial arts styles in a modern superhero context resonated with fans of the genre, and many expressed how refreshing it was to see a film that celebrated Asian culture through its action. The humor of the film, especially through the chemistry between Awkwafina and Simu Liu, was another highlight for audiences. Viewers appreciated how the film balanced its intense moments with comedic beats that felt earned rather than forced. The lightheartedness provided by Awkwafina's Katie character served as a perfect counterbalance to the weight of the story, allowing the audience to take a breather without diminishing the stakes. On a deeper level, Shang-Chi struck a chord with viewers for its portrayal of family dynamics and the immigrant experience. Audiences from Asian backgrounds, in particular, saw their own struggles reflected on screen, with many sharing how they related to Shang-Chi's struggle to reconcile his heritage with his desire for independence. The film's exploration of grief, legacy, and the tension between generational expectations also resonated deeply with viewers who felt that these themes were portrayed with authenticity and sensitivity. Over time, as the film continued to gain recognition, its impact expanded. Shang-Chi became not just a box office hit but a cultural milestone, sparking conversations about representation and the importance of Asian voices in Hollywood. The film's success, both critically and commercially, underscored the importance of diversity in storytelling and the power of seeing oneself reflected in mainstream cinema. In conclusion, the cast chemistry, behind-the-scenes stories, and audience reactions to Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings all played a significant role in the film's success. The actors' deep connection with each other and the material added layers to their performances, creating an emotional resonance that made the film much more than a typical superhero movie. The cast's collaboration, both on and off-screen, was vital in creating a film that felt both authentic and impactful. And as audiences embraced the film's groundbreaking representation and thrilling action, Shang-Chi became a landmark in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, paving the way for more diverse stories and voices in Hollywood. Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings has not only solidified itself as a groundbreaking entry within the Marvel Cinematic Universe (MCU), but has also left an indelible mark on pop culture, cinema, and the entertainment industry at large. Released in September 2021, the film's cultural significance cannot be overstated. It became a milestone for representation in Hollywood, especially within the superhero genre, and shifted the conversation around diversity and inclusion in blockbuster filmmaking. From its portrayal of Asian culture to its innovative action sequences, Shang-Chi's influence has rippled through the cinematic landscape, and its impact is likely to be felt for years to come. When Shang-Chi was first announced, it was met with excitement but also uncertainty. The character was relatively unknown to mainstream audiences, and there was the ever-present concern about whether Marvel could deliver a culturally authentic story that honored the richness of its Asian roots while also fitting within the larger MCU. However, director Destin Cretton and the film's cast, led by Simu Liu, Tony Leung, and Awkwafina, rose to the challenge. Their approach to blending traditional Chinese mythology with modern storytelling techniques paid off in spectacular fashion, establishing Shang-Chi as not just a superhero film, but a cultural milestone. One of the film's most immediate and profound impacts was its representation of Asian characters in a mainstream Hollywood blockbuster. For decades, Asian actors have been relegated to stereotypical roles or token characters, and when Asian-led films were made, they were often relegated to niche markets or treated as foreign films rather than mainstream blockbusters. Shang-Chi, however, was unapologetically and proudly Asian, from its cultural influences to the predominantly Asian cast. Simu Liu's casting as the titular hero was a game-changer, not only because of his talent but because he defied the long-standing notion that Asian actors couldn't headline a major Hollywood film.